aren't you? Yeah, couldn't sleep. Yeah, it's a little chilly this evening, isn't it? Yeah, a little bit. Do you have enough sheets? Is that what's keeping you up? Okay, you're warm enough. Good. And do you need any water? I see that. You don't have a little cup. No, you're good there. Okay, just can't sleep. I understand that. Well, let me just take a look at you. You look a little red. So I'm just going to lay my hand on your forehead if you don't mind. Okay, just want to check. Okay. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Let me get out the thermometer. Okay. And I'm just going to have you lift up your tongue for me. Good. And I'm just going to pop that in. If you could lay your tongue down on top of the probe. Good. We'll wait just a few moments. There we go. So if I could have you lift your tongue back up. Good. No, that's within normal limits. So not running a fever, which is good. Let me put this back and I'll record that in your chart. There we go. Now let's see if I have a pen. There we go. Always losing these. Let's take a peek at your chart. So temperature's good. And while I'm here, I'm just going to record down your blood pressure and your heart rate. So Mercury. Okay. Well, I was just coming to check in on you, but if you're already up, then why don't I go ahead and just take a little look at you, and we'll see if by the end maybe you feel a little more ready to sleep the rest of the night. Okay? Alright, so let me start by just taking a look at you. So for my little examination here, I am going to need to be touching you. Is that okay with you? Wonderful. So let's just have a little peek here. Just want to make sure. So I'm not seeing any signs of tiredness under the eyes, which is good. Right up to here. And the eyes are rather bright and alert. Have you been up for long? I see. Did you get any sleep at all? No, yeah, it's pretty difficult to fall asleep in the hospital. There's always people looking in, making sure you're doing okay, doors opening, doors closing, people talking, things like that. Hospitals don't exactly sleep. Okay, so just making sure. Okay, so I'm going to take a little peek at your IV, all the tubes, things like that. Okay, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to take a peek here. Just want to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the tubes or the sight. Okay, and that's all connected just fine. Good. That's doing good, and looks like it is pretty neat and orderly around your room. I'm not seeing any wayward instruments. So let's take a little peek at your eyes. So I know for sure I have a light in here. I encountered that looking for the pen. So let's go ahead and just pop that on. So since it's so dark in here, this is going to be quite bright. I apologize for that. If you could just look at my nose here. Good. Let's just take a peek. Yeah, it's bright. Quite bright indeed. Just looking. Okay, so other side, just making sure our pupils are equal, round, and reactive to the light. There we go. Good. Okay, that looks good. So I'm just going to shine this back and forth between the eyes. This is called the swinging light test. I guess we swing it back and forth. Looking for relative afferent defect in the eyes. It should be a little odd if it showed up now, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. Good. Okay. So if I could have you just look behind me here. Just look behind me. And then if you could look at this light and follow the light as we move in and out. Out. Good. In and out. Excellent. If you could look behind me here, right in this area back here. Good. And if you could just look at the light. Good. And just keep following this as we go. In and out. In and out. In and out. Good. Okay, so I'm going to test your eye movements, your cardinal directions of gaze. So just look at my nose real quick. Let your eyes readjust. And then look at this light. Good. And I want you to follow this light using only your eyes without moving your head. Okay? Let's go ahead and go side, down, neutral, side, up, down, neutral, side, up, down, back to neutral, side, up, down, back to neutral, and then we'll go diagonally down, diagonally down, diagonally up, diagonally up, diagonally up, diagonally down, diagonally down, diagonally up. Good. And last little bit, let's go up and then down. Let's look for any lid lag here. Up, Wonderful. All right. Give you a few moments to blink the stars out of the eyes there. I'm just going to record our findings. I'd like to have a little look at the ears now. So I'm going to grab our otoscope and a speculum. Clumsy. So let's go ahead and grab this first before I pick that up. Okay. Make sure. Might need new battery soon. So I'm going to pull up and back on the ear. And this just straightens out the ear canal so that I can see inside it a lot easier. Do you have any preference as to which side I start with? Okay, no problem. So, let's just go up. Okay. And then we're just going to push the otoscope into the ear canal. And we're going to take a peek. Now, it's not very likely that all of a sudden you have had any sort of impaction in the ear since you've come to the hospital, but you never know. And I want to make sure we are thorough, and some people quite like this, actually. Personally, I'm not exactly a fan of things in my ears, but I'm a bit in the minority, rather, it seems. And we just want to make sure that all the tissues here are intact and that they are healthy. And then we can just pull the ear up and back again. And remove the otoscope. And then we can take a peek at the other ear here. Pull up and back. There we go. So what I am looking for in particular here, I am looking at the ear canal itself, the tissues here. I am looking at the tympanic membrane, which is the eardrum. And I want to make sure there is no impaction, no signs of infection, discharge. We want to make sure there's no perforation of the eardrum, that it's a pearly gray color, slightly translucent, that we have the tip of the malleus and the cone of light visible. When all these things are sighted and everything else looks normal, then I'll just be pulling the otoscope out. And that looks quite good. Now, if you'll forgive me for a moment so that I can grab the top of my speculum case. I would lose my head if it were not attached, truly. Oh, I'm going to take off the speculum and I'm going to replace it with a new one. Very carefully. And then this goes immediately back on. Just pop that back on. I'm going to have you just tip your head back. I'm going to look inside of the nostrils. Okay, take a look at the nasal passages here. And this tip of the speculum is not going to go inside the nose, but rather it just funnels the light into a smaller point so that I can look up into the nasal passages, take a peek at the septum, see what I can at the turbinates, and then check the other one. Just making sure this is all clear. Good. Okay. And we can take that speculum off as well. So let's take a peek in the mouth. I'm going to use my stronger light. And if I could have you just open your mouth and have you just keep your tongue normal for now. I'm actually going to get one of our tongue depressors and just pull open the pockets of the cheek. Look at the buccal mucosa. See what I can of the salivary glands. Teeth look good. Nice teeth. Okay, good. If you could lift your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Good. Okay, that's all pink. Very good. No signs of cyanosis or anything like that. And if I can have you stick out your tongue as far as you can. I'm just going to keep the tongue depressed while I look at the uvula, the throat. See if I can look at the tonsils a little bit. Some people you can, some people you can't. Good. Throat all looks good. And if I could just have you say, ah. Good. Good movement there. Okay, so let me take this out. And we will shut that off. So I'd like to have a little feel of the lymph nodes. You have lymph nodes at the back of your head, around the ears, under the jaw, along the neck, and above the clavicle is what I'm going to be checking. You have quite a few more everywhere else. So I'm going to start at the back of the head here. Okay. Just going to have a feel at the occipital nodes here. This is something really important to check in the hospital. I don't want you catching any sort of infection or developing one. If you do, we want to be on that immediately. And we'll come behind the ears. Good. And how about in front of the ears? Just feeling the preauricular nodes here. Okay. We have submental and submandibular underneath here. Just do a little rolling motion here. Good. And then the neck. We have superficial cervical, deep cervical chain, posterior cervical in here. Cervical being the Latin word for neck. Good. And now supraclavicular, as it is above the clavicle, superior to the clavicle. Right in here. Okay. Good. I'm not feeling any distension in the notes here. So let me write a few notes down. We've done quite a bit of examination. Now I'd like to have a little listen to your heart, your lungs, and your abdomen. Okay, so we'll start with the heart. So I'm going to put the diaphragm on the chest, and I just want you to breathe normally here. I'm going to listen to our 4 main areas. We have the aortic here. Good. Then we move to pulmonary. These areas correspond to the valves of the heart. Then we have tricuspid. Good. And then we have mitral. The mitral valve in here. Good. Good. So I'm going to listen to the lungs. I'm going to be comparing one side to the other. So we'll start one side, other, down, next side, down, next side, and so on and so forth. So when I put the diaphragm of the stethoscope on the chest, I'm going to have you take a deep breath. Okay? If I could have you take a deep breath in here. And out. Nice and easy. Deep breath in. And out. 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 Deep breath in and out. Last row. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. I'm going to listen to the sides of your chest here. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. Okay. Now I'd like to listen to the posterior chest wall. So I'm going to have you lean forward a bit, and if you could maybe cross your arms in front of you so that it opens up the back and gets the shoulder blades out of the way. Okay. If I could just have you take a deep breath in and out. 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 Last one. Deep breath in and out. Okay, good. You can go ahead and lay back, right? Wonderful. So now I'm going to listen to the abdomen here. You don't need to do anything but just breathe normally, okay? We're going to do this first, and then we're going to do some palpation. We do the auscultation first, because otherwise we might unintentionally mix things up in there and the abdominal organs start making different noises than if we hadn't touched them. So we listen first, and then we palpate, so we get a clean result on both. Good. Now for our palpation, I'm going to be doing a firm and a deep palpation. Deep palpation doesn't feel great, but it doesn't last very long. Shouldn't be painful. If anything is, please let me know. Okay. Alright, let's start with our firm palpation, which I'll only need to use one hand. Is any of this tender at all? Okay, and now I'm going to do our deep palpation, and this will use both my hands. So just keep breathing through this. It can be a little difficult, but that's the easiest way to focus on something other than the pressure, partially because it does have a degree of difficulty. Good. Almost done. Okay, and there we go. So everything felt okay there? Okay, more so I mean, it didn't feel painful at all, right? Yes, yeah, I'm the one who determines what feels more normal, yeah. Let me just write that down. Wonderful. Let's take a peek at the extremities now. I took a little bit of a look at your arm with the IV line, but I'm going to be looking a little bit more thoroughly. So let me take a look at the arms here. Just want to make sure we're not developing any skin conditions, any sores. Good. I'll be very careful around this line here. Don't want to jostle that. Good. And let me take a look at the other arm. Have you noticed any changes in the skin or how the muscles feel in the arms at all? Okay, so nothing feels more weak than usual. There's no unusual textures, things like that. Okay, very good. So I'm going to use the backs of my hands to feel the temperature from the fingers, the hands, all the way up, all right? We'll just make sure that everything is warm to the touch. It's not cold, and it's definitely not hot either. Okay, that feels good. I'm going to take a peek at the hands now. So I want to check circulation. So if I could have you have your hands backs to the ceiling, and I can just pinch the tips of your fingers and they'll get a lot paler and release, and we'll see the color return in the fingers. So we'll do that for all of your fingers here. Press, release, press, release, press, release, release. Okay, so that colors up quite quickly. Good circulation there. Now I'm going to take a peek at the joints as well. Make sure that there's nothing painful in here. Get a nice squeeze along the hand. Okay. So I'm going to take each joint and one by one. I'm going to give it a little squeeze, front and back, side to side. Is any of this painful at all? Good. Okay, and the thumb, other side. Good, so far so good. There we go. Why don't we go ahead and just squeeze around the sides of the hand here. How is that? That's normal? Okay. So let me take a look at the skin. So thenar and hypothenar muscles look good. No wasting here. Skin's normal thickness. Temperature's good. Not noticing any little lesions. Nails are in good health. No nodes. Good. So everything looks to be ship-shape here. And I'm not going to have you do too much movement. You're a little limited here. But if you could just give the wrists a few turns. Good. And can we go back, forth, back, forth. Good. Side, side. Alright, so that's all good. We've got good range of movement. So let's take a peek at the legs and the feet. This is going to be important because this is not something that's going to come out very often for you. So the legs, we usually see our issues in the shins are where we can see certain conditions crop up. Good. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at the feet, and then I want to check the temperature of everything. So the feet are not swollen here. Ankles don't have any swelling, which is good. Okay. I'm going to check the temperature before we get a little deeper. So we're going to go from the legs, the knees, down the shins, and on the feet here. Everybody looks good there. That's good. So let's check capillary refill on the toes here. So same deal as with the fingers. We're going to press down, release, and watch that pale color return to our normal color. Let it flush back up. Press, release, press, release, press, release, press, release. Okay, so we've got good capillary refill, good circulation all the way down. So I'd like to have you just roll the ankles a bit, okay? Just like we did with the wrists. Just roll them forward, backward. If you could move the feet up and down, and side to side. Very good. Okay. Now I'm going to check pulses. I'm just going to do the whole thing in one fell swoop. We will start with our radial pulse here. Do our ulnar, do our brachial. So I don't need to do this necessarily on both arms, but while we're here, just get that all done. The brachial pulse here. Good. Other side. Got a good strong pulse here. I don't need to press too hard. Just nice. I always feel bad if I have to really dig into it. That's not fun for anybody. Now I'm going to do both radial pulses at the same time. We're going to look for what's called a radial delay, which basically means the pulse is going to feel different on one side than the other. Something's a little goofy if it's not essentially synchronized. Okay? And we'll just let that go for a few beats and just make sure it's pretty much in sync. Good. So now we've got the popliteal pulse. This is behind the knee. Now to do this, I need both hands and your knee at a bit of an angle. Good. This one's probably the trickiest of the pulses. Good. And then we have dorsalis pedis and the post-tib pulses. So we'll start with post-tib. Good. And dorsalis pedis. And then the other side. Good. And Good. So everything seems to be in order. Let me just write my final note here. Alright. I think that's going to be about it. Do you have any questions before I sign off on your chart? Okay, no problem. And what time is it? Good. That all looks good. So how are we feeling in terms of sleepiness? Okay, well, I'm not really supposed to be doing this, but it also doesn't really bode well for your health to stay up all evening. So if you'd like, I can give you a little face massage before you go to bed. Does that sound okay? Alright, so let me just pull up my slates a little bit. Let's just come in here with just a nice little face stroking massage. Yeah. You shouldn't be disturbed the rest of the night, so won't be anybody else waking you up for a checkup. And once we get you to sleep, you should be all good until the morning. And the forehead. Just some light forehead stroking. Nice and easy. Good. Side of the face. Other side. Down here along the jaw. Just along the jaw. Little circles here. Circles on the forehead. Down the face. Bit on the side. All the way down. A little bit over here. Good. Along the eyebrows. Good. Okay, and just around the eyes, very gently here. It's a very delicate area. leave, are you sure you're all comfortable with the amount of sheets you have? Don't need any more. Okay, and you don't need any water? Alright, no problem. Thank you so much for being so cooperative for my checkup. I really appreciate it. I hope you get some sleep this evening. I hope tomorrow you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, it would greatly help me out if you clicked the like button and left a comment so YouTube's algorithm registers that it was a good video. If you want to see more of my work, consider subscribing to the channel. I create primarily medical, pseudoscience / alternative medicine, and personal attention ASMR roleplays. But I've done a little bit of everything from historical to sci-fi to fantasy. If you'd like to support the channel, I offer ad-free videos, early access on videos, and exclusive content